What is the difference between recession and inflation? Economy. Guidance statement. Inflation and recession are two main components of the overall economy, which means that these phenomena or problems generally affect the economy as a whole, so that both can affect unemployment rates, the purchasing power of currencies, the ability of the country's economy to grow properly, in addition to many other things. Other aspects, and since they are two important and somewhat complex terms, most individuals or entities may not be able to know the difference between them, and therefore, through this article, we will explain the difference between the concept of stagnation and inflation in detail. What is meant by both recession and inflation? The concept of recession refers to a significant decline in the economic activity of a particular country during a period. Analysts and economists have explained the recession as the continued decline and deterioration in the general economy over 2 consecutive quarters of the same year, and this can be seen through the decline in the gross domestic product, in turn, is reflected in various economic indicators, such as high unemployment rates and the income level of individuals, for example. It can be noted that a recession is less severe or harsh on the economy than a recession. While the concept of inflation refers to the decrease in the purchasing power of a country's currency over time, and through this, it is noted that there is a general rise in commodity prices as a result of inflation, which means that individuals will buy a smaller group of products with the same previously paid value of the currency. This inflation is a reflection of the concept of economic deflation. What is the difference between recession and inflation? Recession is a completely different phenomenon from inflation, as each concept has different effects and repercussions from the other. The difference between stagnation and inflation can be determined by understanding the following aspects. The definition. The main difference between stagnation and inflation lies in understanding each term of them, so that stagnation is defined economically as the total decline in economic activity as a result of the decline in the gross domestic product over 2 consecutive quarters, but on the other hand, inflation refers to the decrease in the purchasing power of the currency in the country in exchange for the noticeable increase in the prices of goods and services provided by the state during a specific period. The reasons. Reasons for recession. Among the general reasons for the occurrence of recession are the following. 1. Low consumer confidence in the economy will be reflected in the amount of spending that individuals make and their tendency to consume only necessities. 2. High rates of unemployment, which in turn means the lack of stable sources of income, thus affecting the levels of spending for individuals and the volume of sales. 3. High interest rates. This limits the availability of the necessary liquidity and creates a negative impact on foreign investment. 4. Increasing the size of government restrictions and oversight of the economy. The causes of inflation. Among the general causes of inflation are the following. 1. A noticeable increase in the volume of demand for some goods or services at a rate higher than what the country's economy can produce or absorb during a certain period, which leads to a gap between supply and demand. 2. The high cost of production and operation, which ultimately drives up the prices of goods and services. 3. The presence of previous inflation based on previous problems or incidents that occurred in the economy during the past periods, leading to an increase in employee wages, which will be reflected in the increase in the costs of products and services. Measurement method. Economic stagnation and its impact on the country is measured by continuously monitoring gross domestic product, GDP, indicators to notice the changes that may occur to it over time, while inflation can be measured through the use of wholesale price indicators, WPI, and the Consumer Price Index, CPI. Their respective period. Recession can occur only in the presence of certain economic conditions such as changing interest rates, the collapse of the stock market, and others, while inflation occurs at any time due to its continuous impact on the economic situation of the state at any possible moment. The consequences of both of them occurring. The occurrence of recession has many consequences and effects in the long term, but it can cause short-term effects that may exacerbate and affect many aspects in the long term. For example, when a recession occurs, companies are forced to lay off their employees, which will not enable individuals to secure their basic needs for their families.